1 versus 1000. Part 2. A blade that will not break. Even if my body falls, my will stay standing. You'll never defeat a man who's already accepted death. Kill. Cross swords 300 down. 700 to go. Kale stood alone, surrounded by a field of bodies, faces frozen in fear, in rage, in disbelief. His cloak was tattered, soaked in blood. Not all of it was theirs. His body screamed for rest. Every breath was a war. But his eyes, they still held the fire of purpose. "You can't fight forever," shouted a Zeron officer, blood on his blade. "No," Kale replied, wiping blood from his face. "But I can fight longer than you expect." The soldier stopped charging. The next wave hesitated. He had killed 300 men without magic, without an army, and yet still stood. But the storm wasn't over. The mind games begin. The Zeron commander realized this wasn't a normal fight. Kale wasn't just defeating their men physically, he was breaking them psychologically. He ordered archers to stand back and rain arrows into the pass. "Let's see if he can block the sky," he said with a sneer. Kale heard the distant command, saw archers line up in perfect form. His heart thumped louder. 1,000 arrows would fall. He didn't have a shield. He didn't have armor. He had resolve. Tornado the storm of arrows. Fire. The sky darkened. 1,000 black feathers of death screamed toward him. Kale didn't run. He didn't hide. He charged forward, toward the incoming volley. The Zeron soldiers watched in horror. "He's insane. He's going to die. What is he doing?" But Kale had studied the terrain. He dove into the slope, where the rock curved into a natural trench. Arrows struck around him like lightning, some grazing his back, others burying into the earth just inches from his skull. He waited, breath steady, hands gripping the dirt. When the last arrow landed, Kale rose again, like a spirit the earth could not bury. He lived. The army stared in silence. The speech that shook the 1,000. Kale walked to the center of the blood-soaked battlefield and raised his sword, weakly yet unbroken. "I bleed, I hurt, I burn, just like you. But I will never kneel. I will never run. You fight because you were ordered. I fight because I must. That is why you will fall." He pointed his sword toward the sky. "I am not fighting you. I am fighting everything you represent. Oppression, fear, blind obedience. And I will not lose to that." The wind howled, carrying his words like thunder across the valley. Many soldiers lowered their swords, not out of respect, but because their hearts cracked. Hourglass not done the internal collapse. The Zeron commander sensed it. "No more speeches. Kill him. All of you. Now." He sent in the elite knights. The last line of proud warriors. 200 at once. Clad in silver. Eyes sharp. Trained to kill monsters, not men. Kale's body could barely move. But something inside him, that unbreakable core, refused to die. Skull the demon within. As the knights charged, Kale closed his eyes. "I'm tired, father. So tired. But not yet." A memory flashed. His father's voice from long ago. "Kale, a man's blade may dull. His body may break. But if his spirit remains sharp, he's not done yet." Kale gripped his sword tighter. And then he moved. The dance of death. He fought like a shadow laced in fire. Each night fell not because Kale was faster, but because he had no fear. He'd already accepted death. That made him free. He moved through their ranks like a ghost. Every wound he received only fed the legend. By the time the dust cleared, 200 knights lay slain. Kale stood in the center, breathing, barely. Drop of blood the breaking point. But even legends bleed. Kale dropped to one knee. His left arm was useless. His ribs were broken. His leg trembled. The final 500 soldiers began to advance slowly. A hunter who wounded the lion now watched as it began to fall. One captain whispered, "We just need to push, he can't stand forever." Candle the unexpected light. And then, something unexpected happened. From the cliffs above the pass, a horn blew. Another, and then another. Figures in black cloaks appeared. Villagers, wanderers, ex-soldiers, survivors, dozens, then hundreds. People Kale had helped. Villages he'd saved. Orphans he'd protected. Farmers who heard the legend. One man against 1,000 had become a symbol. And now, they came to fight beside him. The legacy awakens. Kale looked up, barely conscious. He saw them standing at the ridges. Not warriors, not hunters, but people who believed. People who were no longer afraid. A boy ran down, kneeling beside him. "You don't have to fight alone anymore. Kale, weakly smiling, whispered, "Then maybe we can win." Barkler, the turning tide. The army that once looked unstoppable now faced an uprising. What began as one man's defiance had become a movement. The final charge wasn't led by Kale. It was led by those he inspired. Villagers with pitchforks, ex-soldiers with broken blades, women with fire in their eyes. They didn't fight with technique. They fought with conviction. Stop sign, end of part 2.